This is going to be a series of 3 screencasts, and in these screencasts, what we're going to do is going through doing a Flickr search. That includes creating the elements, writing the code to do the search, to see the results, and then clicking on a result to see a large image of it. So while it's ostensibly Flickr Search, it's actually going to include all of the things you need to do a Flickr search. So what we're going to start first with is the setup. So we're starting with a movie here, but before we get to this point and actually start writing movie clips in here and creating our things in it, I want to take a look at how we got here in the first place. So let's take a look at that. I have an image here that I've drawn up that would be something similar to what I'm suggesting you might sketch out for yourself. So what we have here is I left room, I have my title here, and then we have a search bar. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to let them type in text here, click this button, and then when they search, it'll show like a title like what they searched for here. And then these each are images. And I went through and thought about, well, what size are things going to be? And if you haven't already, we're going to go to our class website here. And I posted up something over in the Flickr area. So if you click on that and then go here and look at this Flickr photo sizes. So this can help you with your planning. So these are all the different sizes here. So you have, this is if you do square, thumbnail, small, medium 500, medium 600, large, original. Now one just thing to note here is that the 500 and 640 were not in my original Stein Flickr utils. So if you download this one, it has those sizes. So this is the size you would ask for, medium 500, and it would get you that. The other thing to remember here is that these dimensions, 500 by 500, are the maximum possible on either side. If your image is in landscape, like this one here, there may be some blank space left underneath it. And if it's in portrait, there may be some blank space to the right. In another screencast, probably, if I have time for it, another session, I will talk about how to possibly center these images. But for now, what we need to do is know which one we're doing so that we can leave a square that's that size that can accommodate it. Right? And so we're starting out with this thumbnail, and by the way, the thumbnail is the only one that's actually cropped to fill the full 75 pixels. The other ones aren't. So that's the one we're going to do. So in this planning, oh sorry, I'm going to get back to the image. In the planning here, I plan to have 8 across. So times that by 75 times 8, and I get 600 pixels for that. And I'm going to have 5 down, so 5 times 75 is 375 pixels. Now this is with no space in between the images. If you wanted space, you'd have to add that in, so it'd be another number times 5 or times 8 or however many you want. So I also decided to put 25 pixels space on either side here, so the total is those 25 plus the 600, so 650 pixels wide. And on the top, I have another 25 pixels of space, 75 pixels for my title, 50 pixels for the search and so forth, and then the 375 here for the images plus another 25 at the bottom. So all those there, 25 and 75 and 50 and 375 and another 25, all add up to 550 pixels. So I now know that I need a stage that's 550 pixels tall, 650 pixels wide. The other thing that we'll be looking at eventually is the bigger image, and so I diagrammed that out too, and this time I kept it at 650 by 550 pixels as well, and left room in here for title. Alright, so we got our title here, and this is going to be a close button, and those are 40 pixels with 10 pixels in between, space for description, for tags, and then my 500 by 500 image, which was that medium 500 size. Okay, how you do it can be a little bit different, but you want to basically plan that out ahead of time. It makes a lot of what we're going to do here in the setup a lot easier. So we're going to be coming back to these images for reference as we go along. So that resulted in first me getting this 650 by 500 pixel wide image. And if I look at the properties here and see that, there it is. So 650 by 550. Okay, now the next part we're going to do here, I'm going to move this over to the side a little bit, is we're, in this case, for each of the pieces that we want to do, we're going to make a movie clip. So there'll be a movie clip for this, and then a movie clip for that. And that's going to allow us to move things around and show and hide them a little more easily. We hadn't done that in class yet, so I want to show that in this one going forward. So I'm going to make a movie clip with our title here and our search thing. So it's going to be a search movie clip. And one of the ways to do it is just draw things out on stage and select them all and turn them into a movie clip. So first I need my title. So I'm going to get that title out there and put it in my cool search. And I'm doing, as you can see here, this isn't going to be the best example of design. I'm doing it a little bit quickly, and also I don't want to influence too much your design. But what I want to do is make sure that I pay attention to my sizes. So that was 75 pixels tall, and it should be 25 pixels down from the top. So, excuse me, I'm going to have to make sure that that fits within 75 pixels high. Alright, so in terms of my size here, I'm going to view my rulers. So we're going to show rulers here. And that way I know I can put in my guides as well. And I can pull in one here that is down at 25. And then I have 75 off of that. So that would be at 100. Alright, so that's 25, 75. Then we have 50 pixels for the other one, and then 375 pixels and 25. So another 50 is pretty easy. That's up to 150 here. Boom. What I'm going to do is just from the bottom, which is here, count up 50 pixels. So that's, sorry, 25 pixels. That's there. 25. And so then that leaves me with the space for the other one. So now I know how to position things in here. So the my cool search here, I can even make it a little bit bigger if I want to. That's my title, remember? So I call it my cool Flickr Search, whatever. You know, so you would have your actual title. Now that's a little bit big, so I'm gonna actually just change the font on this. Condensed. There we go. All right, and you do whatever it is that you need to get yours done as well. All right, so that's my title there. I also, sorry, I forgot to add here. I have 25 pixels of space on either side here, so I'm going to add some guides in for those 25 pixels for this. Alright, so pulling off from the side here, 10, 25, boom, and again, putting it at 25 there. So I probably want to, you know, reduce the size on this a little bit. And make sure it fits into that. Okay. So, that's that piece. The next piece is the search bars. So we have on that, I need a dynamic text field for this area because this is going to show dynamically what I'm searching for. This is an input text field, and this is a button. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of magic video here and pause it while I draw these, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we're back. I do a few things. I'm going to explain a couple things too also as I go along here. So this search I want to make into a button. All I did here is put a text field. By the way, this is static text. When you're doing buttons and things you click on, you want to make it static. Remember, this one here is input text, and this one here is dynamic text, right? Because that's going to change, and we'll show you how we change that a little bit later. So right now, though, what I want to do is change this into a button. So I'm going to do both of those, and then we're going to there's a few different ways. One is you can right-click on them, though, and do convert to symbol, and then I'm going to call it search button, and I'm going to leave the registration point where it is, oops, and leave it as a button this time, and here I'll show you one of the reasons why. So when this is a button, I can go in and double click this now, and we're going to show the timeline. Oops, here. Okay. Now in the timeline, when you do a button, you have up, over, and down. So if you just right click in one and you go to insert keyframe, it copies that exactly, so I can go here, again, insert keyframe, and again, insert keyframe. So now when they roll over it, let's say, I might want when they roll over it to make that text white. So I'm going to change the color to white on that, and that way when I roll over it's white. Or I could do the reverse. If I like the white better, I could make it black, and so forth. So now I'm going to go back here to the main scene, and so now we have our button, and it should get an instance name. So I'm going to call it search, oops, btn. Great. And also, though, I want it aligned to the right here with this. So sometimes when you have guides, if you have snap to guides, it might snap there. The other way is I can select both of these using the Shift and click. Control or Command on a Mac K brings up your align. Make sure align to stage is not checked, and then I'm going to click right. So when I right align, we'll do is align them both to the furthest right thing. And there we go. So that's that. And then this one I might just move over a bit to keep it close to that to show that those two are together. And then I may also, using the Shift key, select all three of those things, Control, Command K, and align them all to the bottom so they're all there. Now the only problem sometimes with text you'll see is that text leaves a little bit of room underneath it. It sort of centers itself in that field. So sometimes you'll find that actually if you want to visually align it, you actually have to just fake it a little bit, do it by eye, or use another guide to actually get it to look like they're all at the same there. The other way to do it is to, I'm going to hold the Shift key again here, align them across the middle with this one here, vertical center, and that sort of aligns them all in that way. Like I said, sometimes it gets close, sometimes it's not perfect. You may want to nudge things up and down just a bit to do that. Alright, so there we go. We need this to have a result instance name too, so we call that search txt, so what they're searching for, and then this one here is search title txt. So I'm going to give them those names. So that's the basis of what I have, and then the other thing I'm going to put here is depends how you want to do what we're going to do next. So I'm going to start off with the scroll pane, which is how we did it in class at first, and maybe at another point I'll show a page result set. So remember the difference is on a scroll pane, it's going to have end up having a scroll bar over here and scroll things. On the page results, it would have arrow keys maybe at the bottom or something to do that. So let's add in our scroll pane here. So we're going to go to the components, window components, and then plop in a scroll pane, and I'm going to give it an instance name here, scroll pane. So what we're going to see is at first we're going to make this looking at the info, the width and the height that we wanted it to be, which was 600 by 375. And we're going to see later that's not exactly what's going to happen because the scroll bars are going to change it a bit. So I just went to the info here, changing that and pop that in place. Okay, so there we have our scroll pane ready to go. So now we have sort of all the things to be able to search for and show the results. What I'm going to do is do Control A, Command A, that selects everything, and we're going to convert all that into a movie clip. All right, and call it search. Make sure type here is movie clip and not button. All right, and I'm also going to, in this case, keep the registration point on the top left. It's going to make it a little bit, that's actually one way you could do it. You could make it on the top left, or you could keep it in the center, depending on how you want to do it. In fact, actually, what I think I'll do is I'll put it on the center, and I'll show you a nice way to center things that have a center registration point. Okay, so there we go, and I'm actually going to now delete this, and that is our setup for that. So if we show our library here, Control Command L for our library, there we go. We have our search. In that we have a search button, and that is the movie clip there for the search. The next piece is going to be doing the next part, the next movie clip, which was after the search. We wanted to be able to show a larger image, so I'm just going to set that up right now as well. All right, so we have a title, a close button, description, tags. These things here are going to be, this is a dynamic one, this is going to be dynamic as well, probably be a little bit smaller than the description, and then this will just, I'm going to put a square in there as a placeholder, but eventually it's going to just, I might leave it as nothing, or if I wanted a background color I could use a square there as well. And then title, this is dynamic text field as well. So these three are dynamic text fields. This is a button, and then this is just space that we need. But often what I'll do is either have a movie clip in here that I can dump stuff into, or make sure the registration point is set there. Okay, so let's do that. Close out the library here, and we don't need our components right now. And so in this one, it's actually a little bit different in terms of our guides. Just remember, so it's 140 pixels and then 10 pixels, 40 pixels and 10 pixels there. So making sure this is selected, I can go here and move these around. So that was 40 pixels and then 10 pixels at the top, and then off to the side here it was 140 pixels here and 10 pixels there. And what else did we have? I guess that was about it for now. So this one, if you just drag it back up to the ruler, it's gone there, and then we're going to add in our text field, and again I'm going to pause it here and then show you when it's done. Okay, so now we have our pieces in here. This close button, I'm going to move down here this tad, was made just like the search button. In fact, what I did here was just duplicated the search button in the library and then went in and changed the text inside of it. So there we go, and we have our close button. We have the title of the image, so we need to make sure that's dynamic text. Title txt, I'll call that. And we have our description text field. Oh, by the way, the title, you should make sure that on the we're going to have to embed that in a minute, but make sure on the behavior here, it's single line, right? Unless you have a space for a title to go somewhere else. Oops, sorry, I'm going to accidentally change the anti-alias here. There we go. Single line. On things like the description over here, you want your behavior to be multi-line, to go on to many lines. All right, so that's if you're only seeing the first line of a multi-line text field, then that may just go ahead and look at the behavior on that one. And then this needs an instance name as well. So description text field, and that is tags. All right, so we have all those, and these here, by the way, should be static. Again, I'm going to select everything and convert to symbol, and we're going to call this image for large image. I could call it photo, but there's already another photo class, so I don't want to mess up that other class that I have in doing it that way. Okay, so there we have, that's our image movie clip, and then we can now delete that. So in our library now we have our image and our search, the two things that we wanted to have. And now we're all set up and ready to write our code, almost actually. Well, this will be actually, it could be part of the code too, but you'll want a linkage for each one of these. That way we can pull it out dynamically. So you could do it now or you could do it later, but you can just double click in here and type in a name. Remember, it should have no spaces in it. Usually I just use the same name as I did here. That's why I capitalized these. Actually, I'll save actually doing that for the code part, which is going to come up next.